Getting offended is like the adult's equivalent of a child having a strop. That's what it feels like to me. Um, I I was attuning to body in the shower and realizing that when I attune to body, the sensations are really coming to the foreground, and my physical movements are not as calculated and as performed um, compared to normal daily sober life when you're more attuned to ego and mind. Because ego likes form, ego likes patterns, and ego likes consistency and control, right? Because it's a way that it kind of understands the world. The mind can understand it in a plethora of different ways. The mind is super powerful, but ego wants structure because it needs to understand how things operate. And after a while, when it comes to physical actions, we refer to that as muscle memory. Well, muscle is of the body, obviously, so it's in the physical, state that we're talking about. But the memory part comes from ego's kind of learned conditioning, right? The precision of the actions. So that's where you start to get mastery of your self control in your physical self, your body. Um, the practiced movements that are from attuning to ego and using the body, that's when you start to get like really accurate movements. And when you attune more to body and let ego kind of drift away, and the body's sensations are just coming to the forefront, and whether you're taking a shower and attuning to high, you're able to tune into your body so much more in a higher frequency. And so all of the sensations come to life, and you hear all the communications that your body has been trying to say, but your body can't speak to you in language, in a thought form like language. Um, it can mime, basically. Your body can mime anything. It can take control of your body momentarily and kind of like make it do something. So if your body wanted to tell you that you're tired, it will give you signals all across your face and your mood and your lethargic movements and stuff like that, and your energy levels, and it will also get to the point where it will make you like, I'm starting to drift off. It will start to like shut you down because it's telling you we need to rest. So it will give you all these signals, and along with hundreds of other things and examples. So your body communicates to you in that way, and it's like a mime. It's able to puppeteer your body and just manipulate and make you feel stuff. So you need to remember to step away from your mind and into your body. And when you do that, you're able to hear truths of things going on within your body. Now, there are cases where that's not true, but we will look into that another time. The body will make you feel just what is. It's closer to truth because it is, everything just is. Even if it's false, until proven, it is. And that's the way we've got to look at it. We can't hold ourselves back in every single micro moment because we want to prove or disprove the legitimacy of a claim. We have a thought and we say, oh, it's the way of the world, it's like this. And we've got to say, yeah, I observe it. This is what I observe. I will carry on going forward. This is getting super generalized. I'll bring it back. Why did I start this with getting offended is like having a strop? It's because when you if you are able to follow along with the line of thought that the observable truth of what is should be enough for you to, you know, base your decisions on that and base your perception of what exists, right? Whether your body is giving you signals that you're tired in this example, or like you're feeling euphoric sensations all across your body and it starts to turn like it's ramped up, and you see the similarities of that ramp up of connection with your body and all the sensations just taking over and making you feel so good, so stimulated, so satisfied, so like, you know, the sensations come through and it's like a playground. And your body really is like a playground when you attune yourself to your body through a higher state. And so why wouldn't you want to indulge in that state? And so that's when you start to notice that you are in a state of high in your body. And you can take that wherever you want to take that. But the realization of what's going on here in terms of narrative, in terms of trying to like understand what's happening, seeing it through the perspective of these different aspects who I'm now like characterizing using language. It's a tricky process to experience them and try to document them. And then maybe a step afterwards, you know, once I towel off, actually grab my phone and try to replay that. It's very difficult. And that's why it sounds so ridiculous. But the longer that I stay attuned to this frequency, this nice little boundary, this micro mellow buzz, I'm able to like hijack that kind of higher form of frequency, and I'm able to, yeah. So the point is, what we feel we can just see as truth until proven otherwise, right? So we feel in our body all of these pleasant sensations, and then if we try to take control of our body, what does that mean? If we have allowed body to lead the experience, right, come to the forefront of our awareness, we allow body to take center stage. And then if we want to take control of our body and do something, who or what is that taking control? So that says that body then has to take a step back and someone takes control. Who's that someone? It's ego. So the identity of self and the aspect of ego comes to the forefront and takes control of the body, right? And if the ego memory, like muscle memory, is there through practice conditioning and is able to make all precise movements and like manipulate the body exactly how you want it, then that can be on the side of performance. That can be on the side of like mastery in a way of artfully manipulating your body in practiced, repetitive, like choreography, right? And there's great mastery in that. But there is another mastery, but it's like it's a form of mastery, but it's within the body state, which can be achieved. And we should give more credence to allowing that to come to fruition in people, in yourself as well. Is that when you let your body aspect come to the forefront and your whole experience is just elated with the body's senses. We all have to heal and we all have to like grow, but that's the ego's intention. You know, as far as the body is concerned, it just wants to be healthy and functional, It just wants to serve. It just wants to be. Just like we, when we consider ourselves as we, Mark, you, me, people, we we want to develop ourselves. Hence this journey. Hence this journal. And so we're constantly trying to enrich ourselves and make ourselves better. Our body's not that driven, that's ego shit. So if you get too caught up in that, then you would start to do the forms of manipulating your body, forcing your body to do stuff because science tells you, because studies have told you, because the whatever, the experts are telling you this is how you need to treat your body. You need to do this and do that and make a routine, and all of that becomes gym stuff, and all of that becomes discipline and conditioning through the ego taking control of the body. And that just reminds you that, oh, well, if that's the picture that you paint, that's basically everyday life for the vast majority of people. Like, who's not in that state? Well, those who are mostly attuned to other aspects, mainly the body, or, well, not really. We're still on the majority sober human beings. So attuning more to high as a permanent thing, I guess it can be naturally attained to small levels and fleeting through our emotional systems. And neurological, obviously. But yeah, on either side, we can be completely heavily attuned into mind, and we know very well that we're caught up in our thoughts, and we let that aspect come to the forefront and take control of our awareness, right? That's our existence. And so within that space, whatever we focus on is like enabled to be a superpower, because we have really directed our focus into one state or two states, aspects. And within that state, we are focusing on stuff, and we're making things happen really well. And I think our awareness on a day-to-day basis is constantly flittering between different aspects, dual aspects, coming to the forefront at the same time, and using their combined abilities to get through life and to behave and to treat yourself. If this is still pretty abstract, sorry, not sorry, this is how it is. It's the form that you're getting. It's the form that I'm whatever. So as you can see, when you are in higher states, you can attune more to body. And body is not the refined, controlled condition. When you attune more to your body's just like, when I'm hungry, I want to eat. When I need to go, I need to go. When I want to do something, I want to do something. And so that's why you get messy eaters when they're attuned to their body, and their body is producing all these happy hormones going, oh yeah, this feels good. And then you're just like, argh. Even mentioning something like hormones is in the aspect of ego trying to define things and the structure of it. And so it created the sciences and terminologies, and that's all great. But I've got to remind myself that when I'm making these vlog entries in a higher state, that's a different form of communication. It's stuff that we can't figure out yet. Or if we can figure it out, we just haven't applied our focus onto it. You're missing the point, because it's the truth and the simplicity of what is, and the observations and truths that can come from just attuning to it and just riding in manageable, harmonizing amounts and frequencies. Then we can slowly start ramping up our progress of understanding. And our actions will be aligned at the same time as our understandings are becoming revelations upon revelations. And there are realizations of truth that if you lay, like I'm trying to do, a tapestry behind you of truth that's been observed and enacted and proven, and then as you're pulling this yellow fabric of inspiration and guidance, right? And intuition and all that. If you pull that yellow fabric through and you keep pulling it through, and there's a whole line of people behind you, I know how this looks. If there's a whole line of people behind you, as in if you are the adventurer and you are the discoverer, you are the explorer, if that's your archetype, I'm enabling you, myself, to feel okay about exploring the frontiers, exploring the unknown, especially within yourself, because that's the only truth there is, really. I mean, everything is a truth, but like, come on, compared to exploring outwards, that's not gonna lead anywhere that you actually need. You need to know yourself, and you need to explore, and you need to discover. And through understanding ourselves, we are able to see that that is a reflection of the outer. Well, you know what I mean. So, yeah, it feels like I'm in that process of understanding, receiving, observing, starting to document, rationalize it in the form of narrative rather than using the scientific ego mind structures of documentation and proving. The sciences, the academia, the logic. It's fantastic, but it's slow. And you might think that you're quick, but that's ego. Ego thinks he's the best. Think of Trump, and that's your ego. So, no, this journey is of faith, and it's of openness, and it's of curiosity and surrender and humility and honesty and integrity. It's of, the willingness to discover truths that can be contested later on down the line. It can be picked apart, right? And it's okay, because down the line, the intelligent people, they will come back and they'll say, no, we've disproved it on a number of fronts, and it's all bullshit, and you need to now take a step back. So it could be like that. Who knows? But it doesn't feel like that. And I guess until it's out there in the world, and whatever possibilities become, they become. But for now, going forward, which is dangerous, but it's elusive, and it just feels like truth. And it feels of harmless, peaceful, well-intended desire to explore and to become whatever I want. So that's the process that it feels like I'm on, and I'm taking part in, and I'm stubbornly still trying to forever document it and make it useful. It's not enough for me to explore into states of bliss and understanding and peace and temporary relief. My ego, is always coming through and going, I want to prove myself. I want to create something useful. I want to add true value to the world. And if value can come in the form of understanding, or at least opening up the gateway so that you can allow a new perspective, a new way of looking at things, just like let your ego shut up, take a seat, and open your ears, open your mind, open your hearts to possibilities of radical thought, or not even thought. It's not an analysis. It's radical bravery to embrace the unknown and to explore. And it's scary and ooh, blah, blah, blah. But there are archetypes of people who are very happy to be allowed to go on that journey in whatever means they feel works, as long as they're measured so that they're not self-destructive and they're not going to have an addictive quality that lets the interaction and the allowance of that journey to be facilitated into destruction, into annihilation. Like you go overboard, you get too high, you get too drunk, you get too fed, you sleep too much, you fill yourself with too much whatever, or you're not getting enough whatever. And those truths start coming together, and those truths are your body screaming at you like, I need help, like there's something going wrong, I'm not doing this, like and so all of these physiological effects can come forward when you are in excess of anything, whether it's a practice or an interaction with a physical substance. But everything is connected in terms of our experience. And when we start to look at all of these aspects and we follow the quick thinking, quick documenting way of journalism and vlogging, I suppose, is that when we document, we pass it down the line and we go, this is this is the observable truth, right? We are in the frontiers of whatever. And it's documented and without bias, just that's raw, right? That's as close to the stream of consciousness as we can document and capture. And then we pass that down the line, and then it starts to get picked apart by the mind and the ego. But before it immediately gets picked apart by the mind and the ego and like put into boxes, cut into even pieces and distributed as facts and figures and dates and information and knowledge and intellect, and blah, we're feeding that machine, and that's the aspect of the mind, right? And before that process starts to take a hold, what if we allow ourselves to just stay within the state of being in that truthful way of living? And it's through the body that one of those portals can open up. And when we stay more in our bodies, we are more tuned in to truth, especially through a higher frequency, within the higher state as well. So then we go beyond the body and supercharge it with a higher frequency. And so we're super attuned to grace and to being in the zone and to being creative and closer to that stream of knowledge, that current, that stronger current of inspiration and art and majesty. So if we stay more there and are able to document it along the way, I think that's closer to just being in truth and having really profound, inspired wisdom and higher sources of understanding. I think, I hope, I feel, I believe that this is a good trajectory. And if I allow myself, and if society allows me, and archetypes like me, through this rudimentary form of understanding, right, on the frontiers of allowing ourselves to surrender and just stay in that state without being controlled by ego and mind. We remain in that state, we remain in that frequency, and we just experience. And it's like as a hidden camera, or in defiance of the experience, we pick up our devices and we document like a journalist instead of just being there. It's dangerous and it's scary and it's unknown and it's wonderful and it's euphoric and blissful, and like it's like the understandings of the universe all just come through is like happy thoughts enter your mind as imagination. And that act of playful storytelling, there is a lot of magic in that. And we need to explore that space more and be allowed to as adults, because that's another misconception about, you know, the archetype of the immature child next to the more mature adult. I think that's a misunderstood relationship, and it refers to these aspects. And I think it's not so much about our ego's age because it's based on a human lifespan or a calendar that's based on, sun cycles. I think the experience of truth is more in the now, and it's timeless. And the more that we attune to a state, or any kind of state that makes you feel more of these aspects of yourself that I'm talking about, and you allow this like background understanding come to the forefront, and you go, oh, that's what it feels like. All right, yeah, I'll stay and I'll study it. I'll observe it within myself, and I'll make my own, judgments. Cool, do that. I advocate everyone to do that, because that's what I've done, and my archetype is befitting to this kind of like journalistic approach, right? And I'm being as brave as anyone can be. All right, I've got to go. But there you go.